I've been getting more into Shin Megami Tensei recently, as I've been playing SMT 4. It's a game series that Persona spun off of and was the first RPG to do the whole monster collecting thing. It's also unforgivingly hard, dark, and is usually about some deep philosophical and moral debate about society, human nature, and existence itself. Anyways, I'm really enjoying the game so far, and one of the big reasons is the press turn system. You see, most people that don't like turn-based RPGs think they all play exactly the same, and I take offense to that, because it's only like 90% true. However, in defense of my favorite genre, turn-based RPGs do attempt to update and revise the standard 4 party members lined up against a horde of monsters gameplay shtick. For example, Chrono Trigger only has 3 characters in the party. Chrono Trigger's gameplay rewards proper timing and enemy pattern awareness. If you take too long to make a decision, the enemies will punish you by attacking you regardless if you're ready or not. Enemies also move around the battlefield, and noticing their patterns and capitalizing on their movements with the correct tech is key to its combat. These 2 simple aspects of Chrono Trigger's combat is what makes the game so special and engaging. It rewards quick thinking and attention to detail. There's also a lot more to Chrono Trigger's combat, and I can gush about that game for hours, but back to the topic at hand. What makes the press turn system so special, and when will it be time to duel? Well, the press turn system is very simple in concept. Basically, you're given 1 turn for every party member, to a maximum of 4, and using an action expends 1 turn. Pretty basic shit. However, what differentiates the press turn system from other battle systems is that just about every demon you fight has elemental strengths and weaknesses, like Pokemon. In fact, SMT has many of the same elements as Pokemon. Fire, ice, electric, gun. So, if you're fighting a demon, and you hit it with its weakness, instead of using up a turn, you only use up half a turn, freeing yourself up to either smack the demon twice as much, or allowing you to heal or boost your stats in the same turn that you attack. Fans of Persona will find this system familiar, as modern Persona's One More system is heavily based off SMT's press turn system. The press turn system, when used properly, can give the player 8 actions within the 4 allotted turns they are given. And bosses can be trivialized once their weakness is discovered, because you can apply massive pressure with big damage while buffing your party stats or debuffing the opponent's stats concurrently. This is most evident by the skill check of Shin Megami Tensei 4, the Minotaur, aka the Noob Slayer. He will demolish you again and again and again until you realize that you have to form a team that can abuse his weaknesses and not fall victim to his strengths, all while using the extra turns granted by exploiting his weakness effectively. However, the challenging / rage-inducing part of this game is that all of the bonuses you receive from the press turn system can be equally abused by the demons you're fighting. Another major element in this game is that the press turn giveth and the press turn taketh away. As if you use an element that a demon counters or absorbs, you lose all of your turns, and the momentum instantly shifts to the demon you're fighting. Hell, even if you just miss an attack, you are penalized turns. Much like the boons of the press turn system, the CPU has to play by the exact same rules. Some CPU turns can be absolutely hilarious, as the demons use 1 attack, you gain health, or you counter them, and their turn just ends. The best way to summarize the press turn system is feast or famine. You either feel like an absolute god at the game, or you are smashing your 3DS against the wall and cursing Atlas's name. But while playing the game, I had the thought, man, this game's battle system is really fun and challenging, but this game could never work as a competitive game. At least, that's what I thought until I remembered an old childhood favorite. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is finally when it's time to duel. If you've never played the Yugioh card game, or haven't played it since Magical Scientist FTK, you probably don't know just how apt of a comparison this will be. You see, 20 years ago, when the game of Yu-Gi-Oh was young, the average game would consist of normal summoning Breaker the Magical Warrior, pass. However, Yu-Gi-Oh is a card game, and card games are subject to a concept called power creep. The new set has to be shinier and sexier than the last one, and that entails the newer cards, generally, being better than the older cards. Now, this isn't much of a problem in the short term. The players get new, fun cards to work with, and Konami satisfies their greed for another... Oh, nope, they're hungry again. These small additions to the metagame become massive changes over 2 decades of this release strategy. It's gotten to the point where games can last 30 minutes while only 2 turns pass. Even in online simulators that automate several time-consuming tasks, a player's first turn can take ages. And the reason it takes so long is because the modern Yu-Gi-Oh card game has either knowingly or unknowingly taken the core principles of SMT's press turn system. The same way a player can extend their turn with smart play in SMT, a Yu-Gi-Oh player can also extend their turn. However, unlike SMT, where the maximum amount of actions in a round is 8, in Yu-Gi-Oh, the only stopgap to a player's turn is the cards remaining in the player's deck or hand. Players extend their turns to such ludicrous degrees by optimally following long combo strings that require special summoning dozens and dozens of monsters in a hyper-specific sequence, a sequence that requires practice to master, and combos that have dropped, something that I've done more times than I'd like to admit, could result in you losing the game right then and there. But Boomer, you might interject, you said SMT is about risk and reward. The only risk in Yu-Gi-Oh is being as bad at the game as you are. First of all, ouch. Secondly, there are 2 key pieces of information that I have intentionally left out. Hand traps and going second cards. Hand traps are cards that are most effective when in your hand, and when triggered, can massively punish your opponent. The best example of this is Max C, a card so powerful that it is currently banned on the TCG ban list, which is the ban list the West uses. The card can be activated on your opponent's turn and has a simple effect. Every time your opponent special summons a monster, this turn, you draw a card. And considering this is Yu-Gi-Oh we're talking about, it either results in you holding your entire deck in your hand, or your opponent abruptly ending their turn. Running into an opponent's hand trap is Yu-Gi-Oh's equivalent of hitting a demon with an element that they nullify. It can completely swing the tempo into the going second player's favor. And if you use Max C, one of the cards you want to draw into is a going second card. A going second card is a card that you use going second. Wow, shit, fucking crazy. And they can also swing the outcome of the game in your favor. A great example of a powerful going second card is Dark Ruler No More. A card that effectively reads, your opponent's last turn didn't matter. Much like SMT, both players have access to game-breakingly powerful tools that can swing the game into either player's favor. Well, if you open strong, anyway. If you are going second and open no interruptions, it might just be more time efficient to surrender right then and there, and try for game 2. However, opening interruption doesn't guarantee that you can stop an opponent's game plan. Knowing your matchup and understanding when their combo has a choke point to exploit is just as important as drawing the correct hand trap. Just like how in SMT, knowing all the weaknesses of a group of demons does not matter if you are incapable of capitalizing on that information. I hope that I've at least convinced you that there are similarities with the press turn system and modern Yu-Gi-Oh's gameplay. But SMT is a single-player RPG with CPU opponents that have a set number of actions that can be learned and played around, thus guaranteeing victory for a player with enough strategy, clever team composition, and tenacity. Yu-Gi-Oh! Being a competitive card game with an ever-evolving metagame, you can play in a tournament or ranked ladder for hours upon hours in a row and never win a game. Especially in an IRL tournament where meta-relevant decks can cost upwards of hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. In SMT, if you are not succeeding, it's usually a skill issue. All you really have to do is get good. And I'm not saying there isn't an element of skill in Yu-Gi-Oh! There is obviously a difference between a pro player and your neighbor Kyle. But the monetary-based elements thrown into Yu-Gi-Oh's Feast or Famine gameplay adds extra frustration that cannot be overcome by simply increasing your knowledge or skill base. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, sometimes You just lose because you lost the coin toss, and that sucks. This video is not being made to just shit all over modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And glaze the older formats. I spent over 100 hours in Master Duel and countless more in other online simulators that play modern formats. And overall, even with my problems, I've still enjoyed my time. I will always have a soft spot in my heart for Yu-Gi-Oh! I just think it's fascinating to see two different types of games that share similarities end up with completely different results because of the intrinsic factors of the type of game being played. So, what's the ultimate point of this video?
I don't know. It's nothing. It's just a bunch of crap.
But if I had to make a conclusion, I'd say that an official Shin Megami Tensei card game could hypothetically work. But I'd hope that a potential official SMT card game would learn a little something from Yu-Gi-Oh! Both the good and the bad. I would hope it would emulate the bombastically powerful turns that make you feel like an anime protagonist with the power of friendship on your side, and avoid the pit you feel in your stomach as your opponent pops off and sets up an unbreakable board. Now, how could they do that? Don't ask me, I don't have all the answers. I'm just a pretentious YouTuber. Thank you all for watching. Is there a card game that is more similar to SMT than Yu-Gi-Oh? Let me know in the comments below. I'm the Boomer Zoomer, and I'm zooming.